All right, let's dive into some serious family drama. No, not your neighbor's latest gossip.
What?
We're talking biblical level drama today.
Laban.
We're going deep into the book of Genesis. Chapter 29, to be exact.
Using the New King James Version.
It's the story of Jacob, Rachel, and a few wives you might not be expecting.
Oh, it gets complicated.
You probably know the basics, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Like, how marriage back then, it wasn't just about love and romance.
It was about power, social standing, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so picture this. Jacob's on a journey to Haran, looking for a wife, just like his dad did before him.
Following in dear old dad's footsteps.
And he ends up at a well. You know, a classic meet-cute location.
Right, like out of a movie.
But this isn't your typical rom-com. This well was the social hub back then. Shepherds hanging out with their flocks, waiting for their turn.
Daily life in ancient times.
And then Rachel shows up. Now, she's not just some damsel at the well.
Oh no.
The text specifically says she's a shepherdess.
That's a big deal.
Huge. In that time period, that was practically unheard of. It's like, you know, finding a woman CEO back then.
It suggests she was independent, capable, breaking those traditional gender roles.
And Jacob, well, he's totally smitten. Not only did he move this giant stone himself to water the flock, talk about a gentleman,
A real charmer.
but he then kisses Rachel and weeps. I mean, come on, the dude is putting it all out there on the line. Was it love at first sight? Or maybe something deeper?
It's hard to say for sure. The text leaves it open to interpretation.
Maybe some kind of ancestral memory like, wait a minute, you're the one I'm supposed to marry.
Destiny.
Right. So Jacob, totally head over heels, goes to Rachel's father, Laban, and offers to work for him for 7 years. Just to marry Rachel. 7 years.
That's dedication.
I wouldn't wait 7 years for a pizza delivery, let alone a wife.
It shows you how important marriage contracts were back then. This was serious business.
And the crazy part is, the text says those 7 years felt like nothing to Jacob because of his love for Rachel.
Love makes time fly, I guess.
It really does. Okay, so finally the wedding day arrives, everyone's excited. Jacob's about to marry Rachel.
The big day.
And then, bam! Laban tricks him. Instead of Rachel, Jacob ends up married to Leah, Rachel's older sister.
Oh boy.
It was a classic bait and switch.
And not just any bait and switch.
Yeah.
Marrying off the younger daughter before the elder, that was like social suicide back then.
A huge no-no. So Jacob wakes up the next morning and he's like, who are you? He was furious, demanded answers from Laban.
I can't imagine that conversation went well.
Definitely not. But Laban, he's a smooth talker. He's like, hey, just finish out Leah's wedding week and then you can have Rachel too.
Oh, so generous.
Right. But there's a catch, of course. Another 7 years of labor.
Double the wives, double the work.
Exactly. I mean, was Laban playing the long game all along? Was this his plan from the beginning?
He definitely seems like the type.
Oh, absolutely. So now we've got Jacob, 2 wives, and to make things even more interesting.
It couldn't possibly get more interesting.
Oh, just you wait. Each wife gets a maid.
Now things are really getting complicated.
So we're back, and things are about to get messy.
Oh yeah, buckle up for this.
Because remember that whole sons are everything thing we talked about?
Right, inheritance, social standing, all that.
Well, that pressure cooker is about to explode.
It gets intense.
Especially for Rachel, who, even though she's the one Jacob truly loves, is having a tough time.
Yeah.
She can't have children.
And in that society, that was a huge deal.
It really was. It's like her whole world is crashing down around her. In fact, at one point, she even says to Jacob, give me children or else I die.
Wow, that's heavy.
Right. You can feel her desperation, and it makes you realize how much pressure women were under back then.
It's hard to even imagine.
So Rachel, in a moment of, I don't know, desperation, maybe even ingenuity, offers up her maid, Bilhah, to Jacob as a wife.
Like a surrogate.
Exactly. Like, if I can't have kids myself, at least I could have them through her.
We see this kind of thing happen a few times in the Bible.
It might seem strange to us now, but back then, it was a way for women to deal with infertility.
And to fulfill those societal expectations.
Right. But Leah, she's not about to let Rachel steal the show.
Oh no, she's not going down without a fight.
Nope. So she offers her own maid, Zilpah, to Jacob.
So now it's a competition.
It's like a baby-making arms race.
It's wild. So Bilhah has 2 sons, Dan and Naphtali, for Rachel.
And Zilpah has Gad and Asher for Leah.
Wow.
Oh, and Leah manages to have 2 more sons herself, Issachar and Zebulun, plus a daughter, Dinah.
So it's Leah, 6 sons and a daughter. Rachel, 0.
The tension must have been so thick you could cut it with a knife.
I can't imagine being in that house.
Right. But what's really interesting is how the text lets us see both women's struggles.
Oh, yeah.
Leah keeps trying to win Jacob's love. You can see it in the names she gives her sons. It's like their little messages to him. And Rachel, well, she's just heartbroken.
It's like a really, really old soap opera.
It is, but it's more than just drama, right? It shows us those universal human emotions.
That's what makes these stories so timeless.
Jealousy, insecurity, the desire for love and acceptance.
We all experience those things no matter what time period we live in.
Exactly. Okay. But here's the real shocker.
Oh,
After years of waiting, Rachel finally gets pregnant.
no way.
Yes. And she gives birth to a son, Joseph.
The tables have turned.
They have. But here's the thing about Joseph. He's not just any baby.
What do you mean?
He's going to become a major player in the future of Israel.
No way. So even within this family drama, there's a much bigger story unfolding.
Exactly. Okay, deep divers, are you ready for the final act? Stolen idols, a daring escape, and a family feud that's about to reach biblical
This
proportions.
is where things get really interesting.
It's like a soap opera on steroids.
Well, remember, we left off with Jacob putting in his 14 years building a family.
He's basically ready to move on, right? Start his own thing.
Exactly. He goes to Laban and is basically like, hey, it's been real, but I'm out.
You'd think Laban would be like, okay, best of luck, but
And of course not.
yeah, Laban's not exactly thrilled.
He's been profiting from Jacob's labor all this time, remember?
Right, he's not about to let his cash cow walk away.
So he tries to guilt trip Jacob, saying, look, the Lord has blessed me because of you.
Classic manipulation.
Totally. But Jacob, he's learned a few tricks himself.
He's not falling for it.
Nope. He agrees to stay, but this time they're making a contract.
Jacob's finally standing up for himself.
It's like he's found his voice,
Right. But this contract is a little strange.
to say the least.
They decide that Jacob's wages will be all the speckled and spotted sheep and goats.
Now, back then, those markings weren't considered desirable.
It sounds like Jacob's getting a bad deal.
It does, doesn't it? But then, well,
Plot twist. God steps in.
of course, this is the Bible, after all.
He basically makes sure that all the strongest animals are having speckled and spotted babies.
So Jacob's flocks are thriving, while Laban's are, well, not so much.
Talk about divine intervention.
It's like karma, right? Rewarding Jacob for his years of hard work.
But Laban's sons, they're not happy about it.
They're starting to feel the pressure.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Jacob's taken everything our dad worked for.
The tension is building.
And then, to make things even more dramatic,
What now?
Rachel steals her father's household gods.
Whoa. Hold on, those were more than just decorations, right?
Oh yeah, they were like super important religious symbols.
Representing the family's deities, their protection.
It was a bold move.
No kidding. But why would she do that?
Maybe she was trying to protect her own family.
Maybe she was trying to get back at her dad.
Maybe it was a power move.
Who knows? The text doesn't really say.
But it definitely adds another layer of drama.
For sure. So, with the idols gone and everyone freaking out, Jacob decides it's time to go.
He packs up his wives, kids, flocks, the whole 9 yards, and they take off in the middle of the night.
That must have been chaotic.
Oh yeah, imagine trying to herd all those animals in the dark.
It's like a scene out of an action movie.
But Laban, he's hot on their trail.
He's not giving up that easily.
Yeah, it's a 7-day chase.
Like a Wild West showdown.
Finally, they catch up in the mountains of Gilead.
Talk about a tense standoff.
It's like everyone's holding their breath, waiting for the fight to break out.
But then, something unexpected happens.
They talk it out?
They actually talk it out.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So instead of a brawl, they have a conversation.
Well, it's more like a heated negotiation.
But still, they manage to work things out.
It's a reminder that even when things get really bad, communication can make a difference.
It's like a lesson in conflict resolution straight from the Bible.
Right. So they make a pact, build a monument to mark the occasion.
And everyone goes their separate ways.
It's a fitting end to a story that's been full of surprises.
It really is.
Love, betrayal, family drama, economic intrigue, divine intervention.
It's got it all.
It's a story about human nature, really.
And about how, even though times change, the things we struggle with, the things we desire, they stay the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're still dealing with those same issues today.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what resonated with you the most?
What lessons did you learn?
What insights can you take away from this ancient story and apply to your own life?
It's a story about family, about love, about finding your own path,
And about the power of forgiveness and reconciliation.
even when things seem impossible.
So keep thinking, keep questioning, keep exploring these ancient stories.
Because they still have a lot to teach us.
Until next time, deep divers.